Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering DreamHack Dallas 2024. For this occasion, I have here with me ReddySet. We were one of the many people that reached out to me for an interview during said convention, and so ReddySet, really appreciate you. I already talked to you before, but my audience obviously isn't familiar with what you do. So, starting off with that, what exactly do you do?
All right, what's up, Pedro audience? I'm ReddySet. I'm a Brawl Stars caster. If you're not familiar with Brawl Stars, it is a game released by Supercell. It is a mobile game, but don't write it out already. It's a pretty fun game, and I think it has quite a bit of depth as an esports. So I'm a commentator. I'm an analyst. I've I guess my tenure in the scene. This is my fourth year being part of the Brawl Stars World Finals, the official series that's run by Supercell, and I guess I anticipate to do Worlds again this year.
That said, you're only working in Brawl Stars. Has there been any other games that you kind of been looking at besides your main game?
So at the moment, no, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to do another game. Dream career for me obviously would be to be a full-time caster. At the moment, that's not really an option. I'd have to really send it with Brawl Stars, and things would need to ramp up with Brawl Stars before I could really do that. But I mean, I'm here at IEM kind of scoping things out. Not that I expect to get into the Counter-Strike scene, but I would definitely like to do some other esports.
Then I gotta pick your brains on that Counter-Strike front. How familiar are you with Counter-Strike? Are you an expert of the big players or anything like that?
Not an expert at all, but I'm learning. Okay, I mean, of course, I had to root for G2 yesterday, with Stewie2K being the one North American player that we have. From what I know, North America doesn't boast the strongest Counter-Strike talent, so it's a very special thing that. And I think G-Stu is actually playing right behind us right now as well.
Well, do you got a preference? Who do you think's gonna win, at 9Z or G2? Are you in for that upset?
Well, you got to tell me, of course, who is the upset going to be? Because from what I gathered, it seemed like 9Z was sort of an underdog coming to the stage.
Well, they're from Latin America, and so historically Latin America is not good in CSO, and then G2 is G2, of course. G2, big player in CS.
Nah, I still got to root for the NA homies. We only got one of them up on stage.
I see that. I understand that. Just covering the entire convention, of course, I find you first time encounter. Yes, I already talked to you before for a past interview piece that I did for my medium.com, which I was put in the description of this video. But yeah, how are you enjoying DreamHack for you? Is this the first time being in DreamHack, or are you already familiar with this whole environment?
So this is my third DreamHack Dallas. It would have been my fourth if I had known well enough to come to the Brawl Stars event that happened here in 2019. And yeah, I hit myself plenty over that already. Though I've been to a bunch of different DreamHacks. It might even be 50-50. No, actually, no. I've been to more DreamHacks working than I have just been for fun. But I do make an effort to go out there and do some stuff for fun, not just for business. I was in San Diego last year. I even went to DreamHack in Japan as well last year for a big Brawl Stars event out there. That was Snapdragon Mobile Masters. Brawl Stars Worlds was held at the OG DreamHack Summer. That was, or excuse me, what I'm talking about, DreamHack Winter. Though there have been Brawl Stars events at DreamHack Summer in the past too. So I've been around DreamHack quite a bit. This is a very comfortable environment for me. And so I'm actually here with a friend of mine who's a bigger Counter-Strike fan than I, and he is currently watching 9Z versus G2 back there. This is his first time being at any kind of convention, so it's kind of funny to look at how he reacts to this environment with all the people and just all of the sights, the smells, the sounds, and recognize oh, I've actually become very comfortable in this kind of environment. I'm very in my element here at DreamHack.
No, for sure. I now want to just pivot back towards your career and just Brawl Stars, and yes, I'm already familiar with that, as I've been saying so far in this conversation, or before our past history. But more so just looking at Brawl Stars and just yourself. First off, how did you even get into Brawl Stars in the first place? When did that whole journey start for you, and just getting familiar with mobile esports in general, because not many people, so far as I've talked to, are familiar with mobile esports.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of info to lay out here. So first of all, I'm not a mobile gamer by any means, and maybe that's insulting to my fellow people who play mobile games, but I'm not a mobile gamer. I just play games that I enjoy, that I think are good, and Brawl Stars absolutely falls into that category. That is one of the major reasons why I got into it. The other part is I'm an egomaniac, and I always wanted to be E-famous. I don't know why I decided that like actual Hollywood famous was not good enough and not sufficient. So when I got into Brawl Stars, it was with the objective of being like a name in the scene. What I really wanted to do was just be a top player. And so when I saw the game launch globally in December of 2018, I kind of looked around at the game, looked at the environment online, the fan base, and I was like, wait, I might have arrived at the perfect time. Like, I looked on Twitch and I saw there are only 7 people streaming right now. If I went live right now, I'd be on the front page of the category. And I saw a huge fan base for this game. So it was at that moment that I decided I'm going to work towards trying to become like a content creator / pro player for this scene. So I got into the professional play side of things, really was grinding for like a year and a half. The thing is, though, Brawl Stars has been in beta for, I think, over a year. It had been in beta since 2017, summer 2017, so a bit over a year by the time that it went global. And there are just players that had a massive leg up on me. And also I decided I wasn't going to stick with the grind once people started reaching out to me. By this time, mid-2019, I'd already mid-2020, I'd already built like a decent audience on Twitch. And people started reaching out to me asking if I could cover their tournaments, their grassroots leagues that they were running. So I said, yes, it's content. I was grinding for Twitch Partner. I really wanted it. Still don't have it, by the way. Though, I started pivoting more to that content side of things, away from the professional play. It was very grindy. I still think that, it just wasn't for me. Maybe if I'd found more like-minded individuals like myself, then I would have stuck with it. From there, though, about 7 months after I got that first offer, I was reached out to by Supercell, by the official series, saying, hey, would you like to audition? They gave me the chance. I leveled up a lot over the years. That was 2021, my first year of covering Brawl Stars. Now it's 2024. I'm still doing it. I've done 2 World Finals now, and I'm loving it.
Having done so, appearing in those 2 aforementioned events, do you feel like you're one of the big boys in the esports scene? Because looking at you, of course, as of now in the recording, around 30K subs, followers on Twitter and anything else. So do you feel you kind of made it to that higher tier in your respective esport?
Yeah, I would definitely say I'm in kind of I would say there's kind of like a top squad, right, that covers the main series. As it stands, there's only like 1 major series. Last year there were 2. You had ESL, now EFG, running the Snapdragon Pro Series, big mobile gaming series across numerous games. Then you also had BSC, those are Brawl Stars Championships, that culminates in the World Finals at the end of the year. So you had both of those series going on simultaneously, and we all know what happened like midway through 2023. Okay, a lot of esports just drops off. A lot of people lose their jobs. A lot of people stop getting work, and that happened to Brawl Stars. So we saw sort of a cutoff, at least in North America, and the other regions besides EU, which is one of the larger, is the largest Brawl Stars scene. So I was kind of out of work for half of that year. So moving into this year, I'm still doing the Brawl Stars Championships. It is, however, much more competitive since there's less work going around. I will say that, fairly consistently, the same people are hired for both of those series, but you're going to be hard-pressed to find an occasion where, the number 1 priority person gets reached out to and they say, no, I'm actually doing another thing for the same game. There just does not exist that frequency of competition in Brawl Stars. Though I will say, I think that I've built myself a good foundation. I think I bring something to the analyst desk that some of the other guys don't bring. I don't want to get too into that because I don't love to out loud compare myself to my colleagues, that I try to support and work alongside. Though I would definitely say that I expect to get the invitation to the World Finals this year. There are some people, though, that are not at the commentary desk, people who are YouTubers that would make a really, really nice fit up there at the World Finals desk. So I do think a little bit about if they're going to get the offer instead of me, but I just, kind of try to look straight ahead and keep doing what I know works and maybe get experimental safely in some places and just try and become a better commentator.
Interesting perspective. Do you got any other occupation outside of just being a caster, or are you just full-time into this?
I think if I were just doing Brawl Stars, I would be sort of hovering around the poverty line, unfortunately. That's just how the scene looks this year. I'm definitely optimistic for how things will look next year, given the massive growth of Brawl Stars early on in the year, but as we know, with how budgets work, this is just what we have for this year. Though, I mean, for me personally, my professional career, I studied computer science for 4 years at the University of Texas at Austin. Got a job immediately out of college, moved here to Dallas for my first job, where I'm nearing my 2nd year of employment. I took that summer after graduation to actually go to Brawl Stars mid-season invitational, travel a little bit around Europe, and do ESL Season 1 of Brawl Stars. So I'm nearing my 2nd year of employment as a data engineer. That's what I do professionally. That's what, keeps the lights on in my house.
For sure. You got a favorite moment that you can pinpoint that you kind of look back on, repeatedly, career-wise, in and outside of the set? What would that one thing be?
I think a lot of commentators will share with me in this experience that there are a few moments in their career that they can pinpoint where they were just really switched on. And you can absolutely fall into the abyss of like this mental trap of constantly trying to get all the conditions right, even if it leads into superstition, getting back into that state of mind. I've had 2 broadcasts that I thought that I basically went 100% and didn't necessarily do flawlessly, but I performed to the best of my ability. I remember it distinctly. I did an APAC stream, then it was called East Asia, I believe, in 2022. And then 2023, March North American Monthly Finals. Those are both online shows. I still don't think I've shown my best at LAN, but I mean, I'm hopeful for Worlds at the end of this year. I think my favorite moment that I had, and I could almost tell it to you word for word, but I have prevented myself from obsessing over it as much as of late, it was the final call of the March North American Monthly Finals in 2023. And I just remember a huge moment happened. Essentially, the teams where it was West Coast free agents versus Luminosity, then called Dog Walkers when they were a free agent team. And I just remember a player called Shine for West Coast. He had basically a free goal in Brawl Ball. He just essentially needed to walk it in, but instead he passed the ball. He got greedy. He was trying to farm up his ult a little bit. It didn't work out. Instead it was intercepted. Then Patchy, a remarkably skilled player, then only 16 as well, so only just allowed to play in BSC. He picked up the ball. He was playing El Primo. He got his super from taking damage because that's just a tank's passive ability. And he passed the ball forward, supered all the way across the field, dodged some well-aimed shots from another player as he was on one tap, scored the goal to finish the series. And I just remember in that moment, I was thinking basically 2 sentences ahead of where I was at all times. And I even had moments to go in and splice the words that I was going to say and really work on the word play and, get some rhyming in there. Those kind of moments are the ones that I live for. I just remember when I said Dog Walkers are March Monthly Finals champions for NA West, that was every bit of breath that I had. I had to lean back and squeeze my chest just to get those last words out. I heard myself roaring, essentially. I love that sound. I cannot do it all the time because it's terrible for my vocal cords, but the stars aligned in that moment. It was absolutely stellar. And I think another thing about that show is that F. our host for that day, had to go, just had an emergency, so I also was allowed to host a good amount of that. So earlier in the day, even got to do a player interview, which is something I never had the privilege of doing before. And I just remember writing the player interview questions, something I'd never done before. I was super nervous, but I kind of remembered that, these are the moments that I live for, and just sort of locked in, wrote down those questions while my co-caster is talking, did the interview. I was very happy with it. Then this final call, probably my best show ever.
For sure. Definitely a great moment to look back on. One more question that I want to ask, as I do with every interview that I've been doing so far in this convention. Now that you've been able to talk about your career, what you've been doing, your favorite moment, everything else of the like, what keeps you going? You know, what keeps you going for you as an individual?
First of all, I enjoy my line of work, but I think most of all, I really crave a challenge. And I think that when the steps are really unclear, I think for me, most of my life, the steps have been very, very clear to get where I am. You know, have extracurriculars, do a sport, get good grades, go to college, get the degree that pays a lot of money, and just go for it there. I mean, the steps are all laid out for you. Everyone knows. In commentary, there aren't necessarily like the clear steps laid out all the way till career success. Some of it you have to play by ear, you have to invent it yourself. Some of it is out there, but you got to know the right people to ask, and you have to also just be a good person, someone enjoyable to be around in order to even get that advice, get those connections with people. And it's very, very difficult for me to do all of that, to balance it. I think in the moment where you don't necessarily have a lot of preparation time, but then when it's time to perform, it's not something where you can say like, well, okay, I'm going to spend a week on this, few minutes of dialogue. You're going to have to improvise, and you're going to have to do it in the moment. I find it very difficult, and I think that's a good part of why I value the work so much, is the difficulty level.
For sure. ReddySet, pleasure to meet you finally in person. Pleasure to talk to you as an interview, but also, as a peer of this world that we call esports. I'm going to wrap up the interview here. Really appreciate you taking the time.